A record number of Americans are quitting their jobs. Here's how they make money after they quit. Yeah, this is the important part. Yeah, we know that the Great Resignation is happening. The big surprise is that it continued happening even after the extra COOF money ran out in September. But where are all these people getting their money from? So, in discussing the surge of workers quitting or retiring during the pandemic, one question I keep hearing and that I asked last week is how are people who abruptly quit or retire from their jobs getting by financially? Well, I could answer the retired ones now because I personally even know a lot of people that could have already retired, but they stay just because they either like their job or they like their boss or their coworkers and they don't want to leave them hanging, or they just want even more money, I guess, or these are a lot of times these people are workaholics as well. Like they are incapable of finding their own projects to work on, so they have to be told what to do. People in that position that could already retire at any time, they'll be fine. But the people like millennials that just quit, how would they get by? That's a good question. Maybe we'll find out. Most of the departing workers I heard from had also asked themselves that question, but then they decided they could more easily give up their paychecks than their well-being. Ooh, that's quite the risk. A record number of workers are quitting their jobs empowered by new leverage. Some retirees said that although the pandemic nudged them into retirement faster than they expected, it also brought relief from the expenses incurred in pursuing their careers. Now, this is something even I wasn't considering because I'm biased in the sense because I've been working from home, so I've had these expenses dealt with for a while. But these people make a good point. I no longer need to buy clothes or shoes for work, fill the gas tank 3 times a week, pay for parking, etc. Yeah, all the expenses just getting to and from work no longer a problem. All that time that you have back to work out on your own personal projects, wrote Sandy Marasco in an email after being laid off from her pharmaceutical industry job in Cambridge, Massachusetts early during the pandemic. Marasco used her severance package to pay off her mortgage. Now that's the best thing you can do. So here's what people never consider. They're just all like, oh, yeah, you build up your retirement account, build up your 401k. That's only half of the equation. Cutting your debt, cutting your expenses is actually even more important, in my opinion, than building up a retirement account. How much money do you guys pay in rent, in mortgage every month? A lot of places in the country, it's like $1,500 on the low end. Just think of how little money you actually need to live off of if you didn't have that $1,500 drain every month. Focus on getting rid of your debt, and then you could get by on minimum wage. If you have no outstanding debt, minimum wage is more than good enough to live off of. So she's then lived off of her savings and state unemployment through 18 months of unsuccessful job searching before realizing that her earlier goal of working full-time until 70 no longer appealed to her. But something about being free from the rat race for a year and a half, what would have done that? Marasco now gets by on Social Security and a 401k retirement plan. Yeah, if you're old enough to get Social Security, this was someone who could have retired already. Kathleen Corcoran had concerns about giving up the golden handcuffs of a full-time job in high-cost DC metro area when she retired from a communications career, but no full-time salary could allow her to buy what she really wanted. Time. Yep, that's the point I make all the time as well. You could always get more money, but you'll never get more time. Once your time's gone, it's gone forever. Giving up income is stressful, but then you realize some of that money is going for things to de-stress you from work. Oh, yeah. So not only do we have to consider the expenses that are involved in going to and from work, but also the expenses involved in de-stressing. It's a good point. Like, how much money would you save if you weren't constantly drinking or smoking out of stress? And once I sat down and looked at the numbers, I realized retiring was doable, and what I was getting in return was time to pursue things I really wanted to pursue, such as seeing friends, writing, reading, and volunteering. She now teaches part-time, a job she finds rewarding in a way that goes beyond a paycheck. Dude, if I could, I'm close. If I could get to the point where I can leave my day job, video games are not out of the question anymore. Because that's the primary reason I haven't dipped into the video game sphere yet. Because that would take a lot more of my time than I can give right now. But if I had 40 hours a week for it, so America's unemployed are sending a message. They'll go back to work when they feel safe and well compensated. That's the big one. Like, yeah, you want me to go back to the office? Well, it takes me an hour each way of travel time to get there, so you're going to have to reimburse me for that. You're going to have to reimburse me for the gas and mileage for my car as well, and all the other expenses that are involved in going to and from work, because I can do the same job remotely just fine. I have no reason to stick around if you don't let me. A former office manager in Laurel, Maryland, who withheld her name because of tension with her former boss, has no regrets about retiring early, even though it meant getting less in Social Security. If I had waited till 70, I would have received $300 more per month. But she said she weighed her sanity against that financial loss and decided to take the leap. I'm so happy I did. So far, all of these have been old people who are already on the cusp of retirement. I'm interested to see how young people are handling this. So, of course, retirement is still a long way off for many people. They read my mind, or I read ahead, one or the other. Some have been reassessing what they want from their jobs versus what they need. Yep. If economics was still required to be taught in school, people would know how to separate a want from a need already. But not current year. Every want is a need now. Jason S. of New York Shady, who asked for partial anonymity out of respect for relatives in the government who share his surname, was laid off. Well, watch, his last name is Smith. Say, what the fuck? It was laid off from one contract position and terminated from the next after he had protested being called into the office for a job he'd been told would be 100% remote. Now, this is a common scam that's happening right now, by the way. A lot of employers know that employees are only applying for 100% remote jobs. So they lie in the job listing. They lie and say a job is 100% remote. And then suddenly, oh yeah, you need to come to the office to keep your job. Don't put up with that shit. They promised 100% remote. If they don't deliver, you get the fuck out. During the Great Resignation, workers refused to accept the unacceptable. I love this too, because now it's more of a negotiation rather than an employer power tripping over you. Though his wife works and they have 6 months in savings, Jason's being out of work has taken a big bite out of their finances. So this is not sustainable even in the medium term. He told me in an email. His job search priorities are shifting. Taking the lesser paying job with health insurance over a no benefits contract job would be a no-brainer for me now. It depends, because the contract jobs usually pay more. And so it's just a matter of if the contract job pays like double, then after a certain point, it's cheaper to buy your own health insurance and you'll still get more money in the long run. And some people have been able to weather income loss thanks to careers that condition them to prepare for the worst. Marlon Garcia of Chicago told me via email how at the age of 26, she was denied a $5,000 raise with her promotion at a newspaper because of a company pay policy, and how she saw other journalists lose jobs and opportunities on the whims of bosses. You're not going to get me to have any sympathy for journalists. I mean, these fuckers have destroyed so much. I'm actually glad to see that career dropping. Now, Garcia told her husband, we have to be in a position where I can leave my job one day if that happens to me. Yep, no, I've been doing the same shit. I've been seeing the writing on the wall, like my company becoming a real company now. So I've been preparing as well. I have to be able to survive at least a year if they let me go. So they bought a small house and ate a lot of bologna so they could afford to pay extra towards the principal each month. Yup. When the mortgage was paid off 16 years later, it allowed Garcia the flexibility to take freelance and part-time work when full-time jobs are unavailable. Now, what did I say at the beginning? Having no debt. I actually, I'm not a financial advisor. I have to clarify that. But I personally believe that getting out of debt takes priority over building up a savings account or a retirement account. Once you cut your expenses so low that you could survive on minimum wage, you'll have a lot more options. Then you worry. Once you pay off the house, pay off the car, build up a buffer, That's when you worry about building up a savings account. Unless you're really good at investing, I guess. Then you can do everything at once. And one common theme among the people who share their stories with me, they don't take their relative fortune for granted. I've been very lucky and am thankful for that, Marasco wrote. I also do what I can for the less fortunate. Marasco opted not to collect the federal government's expanded pandemic unemployment benefits. Garcia recognizes that luck and the economy are important in shoring up her finances. I had less than $5,000 in loans when I finished college. Wow, 1993. Graduates today have tens of thousands of dollars of debt. Well, anyone who goes to college these days without doing the research and gets into debt, getting a useless degree, hard to feel sorry for. So rents are crazy. Yup, that one is a big issue. Too many homes are unaffordable, and that's getting worse as big corporations are buying up homes and renting them out. I don't see how they can do it. Yeah, I would not want to be in that position right now looking to buy a home because nationwide prices are skyrocketing as all these big corpos are preparing for the great reset. That's what's going on right now. Like a complete, like, no joke, no irony. In preparation for the great reset where you'll own nothing and you'll be happy, big corporations are buying up every single piece of residential property that comes on the market. They're making it impossible to own your own home because this is causing regular people to be priced out of the market. Even before the pandemic, rising cost of living, rather cost of surviving, have left most low and middle income workers unable to build a sizable savings cushion or anchor themselves with real estate and other investments. For those with student loans, medical debt, and dependents, yeah, so if you have health issues, yeah, that's a fucking problem. You're going to have a lot harder time because you're going to need to maintain some job that has health insurance. Yeah, the footing was already treacherous. Enter the pandemic and the ground is crumbling. I know for every success story I heard, there are many more invisible struggles, people with no pensions, partners, or pandemic relief to get them by. I can only assume they're consumed with making ends meet. Potentially, yeah. Yeah, so it looks like if you're the people in the best position are those who are already on the verge of retiring, like the old people who are already on the way out. And this just kind of sped up their decision. And if you're younger, though, may still be bad.
Oh man, I am so excited to tell you guys right now that finally, after about a year of build-up and shilling, we have launched Blade Devil on Indiegogo, and so far it is doing so well thanks to awesome people like you. If you haven't backed it yet, then please check the links in the description and check out Blade Devil on Indiegogo. You will not be disappointed. Looking forward to seeing you there.